All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to my very first video on the time and price template. This is brand new software that I'm using to make this video, so please accept my apologies ahead of time if there happens to be a snafu or it doesn't quite go exactly how I had intended it to go because I'm still getting a little acclimated with it. That disclaimer out of the way, what you're looking at here up on the screen. Well, first, my shameless promotion. You can see these time and price templates posted before the markets open at this address, www.facebook.com/trading essence / Um, and what you're looking at here is what I call the time and price template. And as its name would dictate, it's based upon time and price. And the reason that I use time as the first word is that it's primarily based on time. Time is the most important element when trading the markets. Actually, in just about every facet of life, time is more important than the actual fundamental that's below what time is dictating. So time is the most important, and that's why these templates are devised with time being, in some cases, 200 times more input than is price. And if you notice, 99.99% of trading indicators that are out there in these little cookie cutter software packages that everybody and their brother sells are the majority of them are price based. And this is why ultimately through time they fail because you cannot, and I repeat, you cannot use price solely as your determining factor when to enter, when to exit, and when to know exactly where the market is. You need to use a combination of time and price, and time needs to be the major influence in whatever model it is that you're building. And I firmly believe that this is the reason that so many traders just don't make it because they're starting with a flawed idea to begin with. That if they can only use these cookie cutter price based indicators, that they'll reap fame and fortune in the trading markets. Well, I've got news for you. I mean, you're going up against some of the brightest and sharpest people when you're trading in these markets. And don't think for a second that they're looking at a stochastics or a MACD or some moving averages or some Bollinger Bands or some Keltner channels or accumulation distribution. I mean, I could go all the way down the line with all of the different software indicators that are in those packages because they're not. The big boys are not looking at that. The big boys are looking at time and they are looking at how it interacts with price. So time is always the determining factor. So if you get nothing else out of this video, understand that concept because I just saved you about 5 years of going through and trying to devise models that are based solely on price. It will not work. And I know that might be a little disillusioning to people because we all go into this thinking, man, oh man, I'm bright, I've got determination, I'm going to make this happen. But if you don't have the proper starting point, I don't care how bright you are, I don't care how determined you are, and I don't care how badly you want to make this happen, you're not going to get it. It's not going to happen. You need to have a starting basis that is the correct starting basis, and time is the proper starting place for analysis of the markets. All right, enough of my preaching. What you're looking at here is the German Bund, okay, and that's one of my favorite markets to trade. I'll tell you quickly why. Number one, the German Bund trends very nicely. Um, it's not an extremely fast moving market, so it's a little more forgiving, and you can make some good money with it simply because of the fact that it has all of the variables that you need in a market without it being too fast of a market. You know, I mean, I trade fast markets too, but to me, the Bund is a very stress-free trading instrument, much like treasury bonds or notes or bills, euro dollar. Uh, some of the slower moving markets that might not seem as glamorous, but look, if you're getting into this for glamour, you're getting into it for the wrong reason, and that alone is going to end up crushing you eventually. So anyway, this is a German Bund, and these levels that you're seeing here, I have them labeled on the screen. These levels, like these cyan lines that run all the way across, that is the major time and price level. You have another major time and price level right down here. The magenta lines across here are the swing time and price levels. They're a shorter term base time and price level. And then these dotted magenta lines that are, you can see they're near the beginning and near the end of these swing price levels. Those are the transitional levels. And I'll get into those at a later time, because just using the transitional levels alone, you can develop some really nice trading techniques. Um, Briefly, all the transitional level is doing is you're getting to a point where time is exhausting itself and price needs to make a move because it has no choice. The relationship between time and price basically means that when you get into this transitional point and you start to brush up against it, it's got to make a move one way or the other. So I guess the simplest term I could probably use for that is that time is running out on price. But like I said, well, I'll get into those transitional points on the time and price levels at a later time. All I'm really trying to do here is to introduce the templates so that you can get an idea of exactly what it is you're looking at when you go to the Facebook page and I post the different templates for the upcoming trading day. I post the euro, the pound, the Canadian dollar, the Australian dollar, the ES, the NASDAQ, the DAX, the German Bund. Um, what am I missing? The oil and the Eurex. So I've got quite a few markets. This can be applied to any market. There is no market that, well, obviously, there's no market that time's not going to work on, period, because it's the deciding factor in everything. So you got the major time and price levels, the swing time and price levels, and the transitional points. As you can see on the Bund here, and this was just yesterday, I believe. Yeah, this is just yesterday. I wanted to get the most recent example I could, so I don't want you to think that I'm cherry picking this stuff because I don't need to. I can. That's why I can post that stuff every day, and I'm telling you, once you see it, you're gonna be like, "Wow!" I mean, how I knew all these levels ahead of time. Blah blah blah. I don't want to self promote myself here too much, but you can see here at the beginning of the trading session in the Bund, we were kind of trapped in between the major and the swing here, right? And we broke a little bit below and a little bit below, but nothing really major. We came up to this transitional level and broke back down to the major level. Now we held that major level. And we broke back up. And now here is where you start to see a potential setup for a trade is right in here. You can see that for an extended period of time, for about an hour and a half, we were chopping back and forth by this major level. We couldn't break hard below it. We couldn't break high above it. So we knew something was going on here. And if you notice up here, we weren't hitting this transitional magenta up here, but we were in a transitional time. So we knew we kind of had a double whammy here. So we knew that as we chop through here, and you can see most of the chop is below the cyan line, which gives you a tip off right there that more than likely you're going to break lower. Not all the time, but the whole point of this is that you know to keep your powder dry and you know that a move is coming. And that is the most important thing. I don't care if it's on the long side or if it's on the short side. If I know that I'm getting into a point where we're going to get a move, I don't care which side I take. And as you can see, we broke lower, came down to this transitional level right here on the swing price level, came up just a little bit, about 6 minutes, and then broke again, then chopped, and then broke again. And came down to this swing price level here. Got back in this transitional level here. So right here, we're starting to think that, well, maybe we're going to break lower again. But like I said, when you get in those transitional points, I don't really care which way it's going to break. I just know that we're in that portion of the chart and that a move is imminent. And the move in this case ended up being back up. And we came back up almost to the major time and price level. And typically, I mean, this is like 11:15 a.m. Eastern time. This is a German Bund, so it's traded, in Germany. So come this time of the day, you should really be thinking about wrapping up and not even trading it because it's going to start to get really thin. But you can see we had another nice move up, and then we came down, back down to the transitional level here, and the end of the day ended right over there. But all this activity from here over to here, right? I mean that's been because the majority of European traders are done trading the Bund. I would set the cutoff time. I don't trade the Bund after 11 a.m. Eastern. But you get some really nice moves about midday in the German session in the Bund. So anyway, I just wanted to give a brief rundown on these time and price levels and show you how they work. And like I said, you can go to the Facebook page up here and you can check them out. I post stuff during the day sometimes. If I have time to do it during the day while I'm trading, I'll make posts. Sometimes I have time in between trades to post stuff. But I also post the templates for a variety of markets, typically early in the morning. Really early in the morning, so that everybody can have those in plenty of time. So I'll be making more of these videos and going over more advanced strategies. I've got a lot of other stuff that I also use. I use what I call quantum levels, which are based on quantum physics. I use time and price lines. I would call these bands, the magenta and the cyan. But I also use time and price lines, which, when we get into those, they're going to blow your mind a little bit too. I use institutional lines, which are lines in the sand that the institutions pay attention to. And you can either look for major support or resistance there. And I also use large speculator areas that you can expect speculators to jump in on one side or the other. And I also use a footprint chart. I use a delta profile. And I'm going to go over all of this stuff through different videos. I just kind of wanted to get you guys acclimated with how this all works. So until the next video, you guys have a great day trading tomorrow or the next day. And please come to the Facebook page and check these templates out and check out the posts. Go through all the posts and check out all the stuff that I use. It's not all on there, but it's growing. So I hope you guys have an excellent trading day, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon.